Angel Reese has her podcast, Unapologetically Angel. And on her podcast, she had a guest, Kayla Nicole, who is the ex-girlfriend of Travis Kelce, who obviously dates Taylor Swift, right? I mean, I think everybody knows that.
It's surprising to hear that a singer like Taylor Swift is caught up in basketball drama and now taking shots at Angel Reese. Maybe she's just a huge fan of Caitlin Clark. Everyone has their favorites. But this situation with Angel, from the steroid accusations to what she's been saying on her podcast, has really gone out of hand.
It's being resurfaced and boosted as Caitlin Clark fans and Taylor Swift fans start to become one, which would equate to the largest fan base perhaps in the history of the universe.
Taylor had enough and, in a series of tweets, completely shut down the drama queen. For the first time, we saw Caitlin Clark react, the same Clark who never says anything bad about anyone. She finally reached her breaking point, and it was about time. Caitlin Clark's rise in basketball has been incredible. She's got serious skills, no doubt, and with her unshakable confidence, she's become the WNBA's golden girl, and fans love her. But what really took her fame to a new level was her unexpected connection with the most loyal fan base out there, Taylor Swift's Swifties. Clark might dominate on the court, but this off-court support was a total game changer.
The pop culture space where Angel Reese can do a podcast that gets this much attention, that then brings the attention to Caitlin Clark, who already had the most attention from the fan base of the person outside of sports who gets the most attention.
It all started last year when Clark casually tweeted a warm welcome to Taylor Swift for joining the Kansas City Chiefs fandom. Seemed harmless, right? Little did she know that small tweet was like lighting a match in a fireworks factory. The Swifties saw it and thought, oh, she's one of us now. And once you're part of the Swiftie circle, you've basically got an army behind you. What began as simple fan support for an athlete quickly turned into a full-blown cultural phenomenon.
This one that says, more Swifties are joining Caitlin FC by the second. Oh, it's so over for the league. That from 444 Hater. I hope they're not talking about the Jay-Z album, because I love that album. And then, there's a bunch of them.
Suddenly, it wasn't just basketball fans cheering for Clark, it was millions of Swifties backing her. And let's be honest, when Swifties are involved, it's more than just a bit of online support. It's a movement. They defended Clark just as passionately as they defend Taylor, boosting her every move like it was their mission. It wasn't just about basketball anymore. Caitlin Clark had become a pop culture icon, all thanks to a tweet and a fan base with plenty of time on their hands.
Because the Swifties, there are a lot of them, and they're in mass. So Reese is ready. She's hunkered down. She's ready to take on whatever comes with Taylor Swift's fans.
But here's where it gets interesting. When Swifties get involved, a small sports rivalry can turn into a full-blown fan base war. Angel Reese didn't see it coming. She had that smug finger-pointing taunt during the CAA championship, thinking she had the upper hand on Clark. But the Swifties were like, not on our watch. Reese went from being the taunt queen to the internet's joke. Swifties dragged her so hard that they turned that cringy championship moment into an unforgettable meme.
This one that says, more Swifties are joining Caitlin FC by the second. Oh, it's so over for the league. That from 444 Hater. I hope they're not talking about the Jay-Z album, because I love that album. And then, there's a bunch of them.
She thought she had the last laugh, but now she's the one getting laughed at by an army of fans who are as ruthless as they are organized. Clark didn't even need to do anything. Her fans, especially the Swifties, were out for blood, and Reese didn't stand a chance. Then, in typical self-sabotage, Reese made things worse by inviting Kayla Nicole, Travis Kelce's ex, onto her podcast. Like, seriously? Everyone knew by then that Travis was dating Taylor, and Reese thought it was a smart move to bring his ex into the mix. Bad timing doesn't even begin to describe it. It was an obvious grab for attention, and spoiler alert, it backfired big time.
Without it being spun into something crazy, Angel Reese has her on the podcast. She talks about Travis Kelce, and the Swifties are unleashed. And they first start going for Angel.
The internet exploded, but not the way Reese had hoped. Swifties came after her like a swarm of bees, adding fuel to the fire already burning under her name. All those cringy moments from the championship resurfaced, and her latest podcast stunt only gave people more reasons to roast her. Instead of using the podcast to boost her reputation, Reese set herself up for public humiliation, and the Swifties made sure she didn't forget it. To make things worse, she thought teaming up with Kayla Nicole, who has her own messy history with Swifties, was a smart move. It was like walking into a hornet's nest with a smile on her face.
And Caitlin Clark is the same way. In fact, Colin Cowherd has referred to Caitlin Clark as Taylor Swift in tennis shoes. So if you do have a bunch of Swifties who all of a sudden became Caitlin Clark fans, that's a problem for any other fan base in any fan debate. I don't know if they're actually sticking around or they're just making a show of it online.
The moment Reese brought Kayla onto her show, it was game over. Swifties protect Taylor Swift at all costs, and if you even look at her the wrong way, you become public enemy number one. By bringing Kayla into the mix, Reese made herself an easy target, and the Swifties didn't hold back. Reese's finger-pointing taunt at Caitlin Clark during the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship on April 2nd, 2023, is something everyone remembers, and not in a good way. You'd think after leading LSU to a huge 102-85 win over Iowa, Reese would be celebrated for her talent, but nope. All anyone talked about was that infamous taunt. Reese thought she'd won both the championship and the public's hearts, but she really misjudged that one. It didn't take long for the internet to flip the script, and suddenly, she was the bad sport.
Taylor Swift can do anything. You know, she endorses the Vice President Harris, and then it's on the news immediately, right? Like every news outlet. She's got that gravitas, she's just that popular.
Reese had a plan. She waited the whole game for the right moment to do her taunt, pointing at her ring finger and mimicking Clark's famous "you can't see me" hand wave. This was supposed to be her big mic drop moment, but instead of applause, all she got was cringe. It was like watching someone tell a bad joke in a room full of silence. Sports fans, commentators, and even people who don't care about basketball were calling out the poor sportsmanship. Sure, trash talk is part of the game, but this felt personal, petty, and just plain awkward. Fast forward, and the Swifties didn't forget that taunt. Once they backed Caitlin Clark, they dug up that clip and spread it everywhere. Reese's finger-pointing became a meme, but not in a good, funny way.
Meanwhile, there's the Angel end of it, and she's caught some blowback for the podcast itself. It's just a podcast. She's just 22 years old. I really didn't get myself the point of the booking, but maybe there was an audience for it. Obviously, it got to the Taylor Swift fan base.
It turned into a "yikes, what were you thinking?" kind of meme, symbolizing everything wrong with bad sportsmanship. The Swifties went all out, practically making Reese the villain while Clark became the hero by default. The best part? Clark didn't have to do anything. The Swifties handled all the dirty work while Clark just chilled, probably scrolling through the chaos and thinking, well, that escalated quickly. She didn't engage in any drama and kept her cool, which made her stand out even more. Her silence spoke louder than any comeback she could have made, and her grace under pressure made her look like the classiest player around. Meanwhile, Reese was stuck with the reputation of someone who took things too far. We've seen enough of Caitlin Clark fans fighting with Angel Reese fans, but the merging of Swifties with Clark's fans created a social media hurricane that took Clark from a rising basketball star to a full-blown pop culture phenomenon. We're talking about an army of Taylor Swift's most devoted fans joining forces with sports enthusiasts. When those two collide, things don't just get wild, they explode. It wasn't just basketball fans rooting for Caitlin anymore. It was a whole new level. The Swifties, known for their relentless online presence, turned Clark into something much bigger than just a WNBA star. And then there was Angel Reese, who had her own podcast and brought up Travis Kelce, only to unleash the Swifties. It all started so innocently with a simple tweet from Clark in 2022 welcoming Taylor Swift to the Kansas City Chiefs fanbase. But in the world of Swifties, nothing is ever simple. That tweet sparked a cultural movement. Suddenly, Clark wasn't just a baller. She was Taylor Swift in tennis shoes. And let's be real, once the Swifties give you a nickname, you've got a golden ticket. That nickname took Clark out of women's basketball and dropped her right into pop culture. She wasn't just an athlete anymore. She became an icon, someone the Swifties could call their own. When Swifties adopt you, they go all in, and Angel couldn't handle that.
She posted about it.